Are you unexpectedly turning one of nature's most perfect foods into a health hazard in your kitchen? In the next few minutes, I'll show you the 7 critical egg mistakes that could be putting your health at risk and reveal the simple techniques to make eggs both safe and nutritionally optimal. When you hear mistake number 4, you'll be shocked. It's something the FDA warns could increase your risk of serious foodborne illness by over 700%. Yet 99% of seniors do it every day without thinking twice. This information is especially crucial if you're over 60, as your immune system naturally becomes less effective at fighting foodborne pathogens. Last month, Eleanor, a healthy 73-year-old from Michigan, spent 3 days in the hospital with severe food poisoning after preparing her morning eggs the way she had for decades. Her doctor explained that a simple change in her preparation method could have prevented her entire ordeal. Thousands of seniors face similar preventable illnesses each year, simply because of common egg handling mistakes most of us were never taught to avoid. Mistake 1. Improper storage temperature. Why is the door of your refrigerator the absolute worst place to store eggs, despite being designed for them? According to food safety experts at the USDA, eggs stored in refrigerator doors are exposed to temperature fluctuations that can increase bacterial growth by up to 50% compared to eggs stored in the main compartment. Every time you open your refrigerator door, those eggs experience a temperature change, creating ideal conditions for bacteria to multiply rapidly. The main compartment maintains a more consistent temperature around 37 degrees, which is optimal for suppressing bacterial growth and maintaining egg freshness for the maximum duration. Richard, 68, moved his eggs from the door to the center shelf and was surprised when his eggs stayed fresh nearly 2 weeks longer than usual. He had been discarding eggs frequently, assuming they were naturally quick to spoil, when in fact his storage method was accelerating their deterioration. Continuing to store eggs in the door increases your risk of salmonella exposure, which can be particularly dangerous for seniors with naturally weakened immune systems. Salmonella infection can lead to severe dehydration, which is especially problematic for older adults who already have a diminished thirst response and may not realize they're becoming dangerously dehydrated. Always store eggs in their original carton on a center shelf of your refrigerator, where the temperature remains most consistent. The carton provides additional protection against temperature changes and prevents eggs from absorbing strong odors from other foods through their porous shells. This simple change requires no special equipment and takes less than a minute to implement, yet provides significant protection against foodborne illness. When bringing eggs home from the store, make their proper placement in the refrigerator a priority rather than leaving them out while you unpack other items. Your refrigerator door is opening and closing multiple times daily. Move your eggs to a safer location immediately after watching this video. This simple adjustment takes seconds to implement, but could prevent days of serious illness. Every time you reach for something in your refrigerator, that door storage area experiences temperature fluctuations that can potentially compromise the safety of your eggs. Mistake 2. Washing eggs incorrectly. Did you know that the way you're washing your eggs might actually be forcing bacteria inside the shell rather than cleaning them? Research from the FDA's Center for Food Safety reveals that washing eggs in warm water creates a vacuum effect that can pull bacteria through the porous shell and into the egg itself. When a cold egg from the refrigerator is placed in warm water, the contents inside contract slightly, creating negative pressure that can actively draw bacteria through microscopic pores in the shell. Additionally, washing removes a natural protective coating called the cuticle or bloom that commercial egg processors replace with a thin mineral oil coating designed to prevent bacterial penetration and moisture loss. Martha, 75, stopped pre-washing her store-bought eggs after learning they're already cleaned and sanitized, eliminating an unnecessary step that was potentially compromising safety. She had been carefully washing each egg before cracking it for decades, believing she was improving food safety, when in fact she may have been increasing her risk of exposure to harmful bacteria. This common washing mistake can introduce harmful bacteria directly into the egg, where they can multiply rapidly, especially if eggs are then left at room temperature. Once bacteria enter the nutrient-rich environment inside an egg, they find ideal conditions for rapid reproduction. For store-bought eggs, skip washing entirely as they're already cleaned and have a protective coating. For farm-fresh eggs, only wash right before use, using water slightly warmer than the egg. If you obtain eggs directly from a local farm or backyard chickens, they may have visible dirt or debris that should be addressed, but timing is crucial. Store unwashed farm-fresh eggs in the refrigerator and only clean them immediately before cracking them for use. When washing is necessary, use water that is slightly warmer than the egg itself and dry them immediately with a clean paper towel. This simple change in your routine could prevent a dangerous foodborne illness that could land you in the hospital. Implement it starting today. Every time you're tempted to wash an egg from the grocery store, remember that you're potentially compromising rather than improving its safety. The commercial washing and sanitizing process eggs undergo before reaching the store is far more effective than anything that can be done in a home kitchen. Mistake 3. Leaving eggs at room temperature too long. The danger zone temperature range that turns your healthy breakfast into a bacterial breeding ground. Food safety experts identify this critical range as between 40 degrees and 140 degrees, with bacterial growth occurring most rapidly around room temperature. Microbiologists at Cornell University have demonstrated that eggs left at room temperature for over 2 hours can experience a 100-fold increase in bacterial growth, creating significant health risks especially for adults over 65. The interior of an egg provides an ideal growth medium for bacteria, with abundant nutrients and moisture that support rapid reproduction when temperatures rise above refrigeration levels. Susan, 71, who used to crack eggs and leave them sitting while preparing other breakfast items, now times her cooking to ensure eggs never sit out for more than 20 minutes. She realized her habit of preparing all ingredients before cooking meant her beaten eggs sometimes sat at room temperature for up to an hour, creating unnecessary risk. This habit of convenience dramatically increases your risk of salmonella infection, which can be life-threatening for seniors with compromised immune systems. Salmonella bacteria can double in number every 20 minutes at room temperature, meaning that even a small initial contamination can reach dangerous levels during the time it takes to prepare other breakfast components. Keep eggs refrigerated until ready to use, and never leave cracked eggs at room temperature for more than 20 minutes before cooking thoroughly. This means adjusting your cooking routine to prioritize food safety over convenience. Instead of preparing all ingredients before beginning to cook, start by preparing non-perishable items and save the eggs for last. Crack eggs directly into the cooking pan when possible, rather than into an intermediate bowl that sits at room temperature. When recipes require beaten eggs, time this step to occur immediately before the eggs are needed in the cooking process. Your body's ability to fight foodborne illness declines with age. Protect yourself by changing this dangerous habit immediately. Every minute that eggs sit at room temperature represents an opportunity for bacteria to multiply, increasing your risk unnecessarily. The changes in immune function that occur naturally with aging make foodborne illness both more likely to occur and potentially more serious when it does. Mistake 4. Undercooking eggs. Why are those runny yolks you love potentially putting your health at serious risk after age 60? Infectious disease specialists at Johns Hopkins Medicine warn that undercooked eggs can harbor live salmonella bacteria, and studies show adults over 65 are 4 to 6 times more likely to experience severe or life-threatening symptoms from foodborne infections. The decreased stomach acid production that commonly occurs with aging means fewer bacteria are killed during digestion, allowing more pathogens to reach the intestines where they can cause infection. Additionally, age-related changes to the gut microbiome and intestinal lining can make it easier for pathogens to establish infection. David, 77, switched from soft-boiled to hard-boiled eggs after his doctor explained his recent hospitalization was linked to undercooked eggs, despite enjoying runny yolks his entire life. His 3-day hospital stay for severe dehydration and electrolyte imbalance resulted from what he initially dismissed as just a stomach bug, but was actually salmonella infection traced to his daily breakfast routine. Continuing to eat undercooked eggs significantly increases your risk of foodborne illness that can lead to hospitalization, dehydration, and even long-term health complications. The CDC estimates that adults over 65 account for nearly half of all foodborne illness hospitalizations despite representing less than 15% of the population. Always cook eggs until both whites and yolks are firm, reaching an internal temperature of 160 degrees Celsius, which kills harmful bacteria while preserving nutritional benefits. For boiled eggs, this means cooking until the yolk is completely solid with no runny portions remaining. When frying eggs, flip them and cook until the yolk is no longer liquid, or cover the pan briefly to ensure the steam cooks the top surface thoroughly. Scrambled eggs should be cooked until no visible liquid remains. For recipes that traditionally call for raw or undercooked eggs, consider using pasteurized egg products which have been heat-treated to kill bacteria while maintaining the functional properties of raw eggs. Your immune system isn't as robust as it was decades ago. Start fully cooking your eggs today to protect yourself from unnecessary health risks. The preference for runny yolks is simply not worth the significantly increased risk of serious illness that comes with it after age 60. Every properly cooked egg represents a nutritious, protein-rich meal without the gamble of potential foodborne illness. Mistake 5. Using cracked eggs. The tiny crack in your eggshell that creates a superhighway for dangerous bacteria. Microbiologists at the CDC have found that eggs with even hairline cracks have a 90% higher contamination rate than intact eggs, creating significant health risks, particularly for vulnerable populations like seniors. The eggshell serves as a semi-permeable membrane designed to allow air exchange while keeping bacteria out, but even microscopic cracks disable this protective function. Once the integrity of the shell is compromised, bacteria from the external environment can easily enter the nutrient-rich interior, where they find ideal conditions for rapid multiplication. Patricia, 69, started carefully inspecting each egg before purchase after learning that the slight crack in one egg could contaminate her entire carton. She was surprised to discover that holding the carton up to the store light revealed hairline cracks in eggs she would have previously considered perfectly safe. Using cracked eggs exposes you to potentially harmful bacteria that can cause severe gastrointestinal illness, which is particularly dangerous for seniors who dehydrate more quickly during illness. The physiological changes that occur with aging, including decreased thirst perception and changes in kidney function, mean that older adults often don't recognize dehydration symptoms until they become severe. Carefully inspect eggs before purchase, open the carton in the store, and discard any cracked eggs immediately rather than using them. This inspection should become a regular part of your shopping routine, taking just a few extra seconds but potentially saving days of illness. In the grocery store, open the carton before placing it in your cart and visually inspect each egg for visible cracks or damage. Gently rotate each egg to check its entire surface, as cracks may only be visible from certain angles. At home, if you discover a cracked egg during cooking preparation, discard it immediately regardless of how minor the crack appears. That carton in your refrigerator might contain cracked eggs right now. Check them immediately and discard any that aren't perfectly intact. Every cracked egg represents an unnecessary risk that's easily eliminated through proper inspection and the willingness to discard compromised food rather than trying to salvage it. The generation that grew up with waste not, want not values must recognize that using cracked eggs isn't thrifty. It's a potentially expensive gamble with your health. Mistake 6. Cross-contamination during preparation. Is the way you're handling eggs in your kitchen unknowingly contaminating other foods with dangerous bacteria? Research from the Mayo Clinic's Food Safety Division shows that bacteria from eggshells can survive on kitchen surfaces for up to 24 hours, creating multiple opportunities for cross-contamination. When you crack an egg, microscopic particles from the shell inevitably make contact with your hands, countertops, utensils, and nearby foods. These particles can contain salmonella and other pathogens that transfer to surfaces where they remain viable for extended periods. The average kitchen sponge or dishcloth often becomes a collection point for these bacteria, subsequently spreading them throughout the kitchen during routine cleaning. William, 73, began using a dedicated area of his counter for egg preparation after his food safety class revealed how easily bacteria transfers from shells to other foods. He was particularly shocked to learn that the kitchen towel he used to wipe his hands after cracking eggs was likely spreading bacteria to every surface he subsequently touched. This invisible contamination can spread pathogens to ready-to-eat foods like fruits and vegetables, significantly increasing your risk of foodborne illness even from foods you don't cook. The bacteria transferred from eggshells to a cutting board used later for salad ingredients can lead to illness even when the eggs themselves were properly cooked. Use a dedicated small bowl for cracking eggs, wash hands thoroughly with soap immediately after handling eggs, and sanitize all surfaces that contact eggshells with a food-safe disinfectant. Create a designated egg handling area in your kitchen that's separated from other food preparation, particularly foods that won't be cooked. Crack eggs into a small bowl rather than directly into your mixing bowl or pan, allowing you to inspect for shell fragments and contain any potential contamination to a smaller, easily sanitized area. Wash hands with soap and warm water for at least 20 seconds immediately after handling eggs or eggshells, paying particular attention to fingertips and undernails where shell particles often hide. Your kitchen surfaces may be harboring dangerous bacteria right now. Implement these simple preparation changes with your very next meal. Every time you crack an egg, you have the opportunity to either contain potential contamination or spread it throughout your kitchen. The bacteria from a single eggshell can potentially contaminate an entire meal preparation area, creating risk that extends well beyond the eggs themselves. Mistake 7. Keeping eggs past their prime. The simple egg test that could save you from a dangerous case of food poisoning. Food safety researchers at the USDA have established that eggs can harbor dangerous levels of bacteria well before they show obvious signs of spoilage, with risk increasing significantly after the best-by date. The porous nature of eggshells means that even properly refrigerated eggs gradually lose quality and safety over time as gases and moisture pass through the shell. Temperature fluctuations, which commonly occur during transportation or temporary power outages, can accelerate deterioration without leaving any visible evidence. Barbara, 82, now performs the water test weekly on all her stored eggs after discovering several in her refrigerator were past their prime despite looking normal. She had been relying solely on the carton date until her neighbor shared this simple testing method that revealed some of her eggs were no longer safe, despite being within the printed date range. Consuming eggs even slightly past their prime can cause severe gastrointestinal distress in seniors, potentially leading to dangerous dehydration and hospitalization. The bacteria that multiply in aging eggs can produce toxins that remain even after thorough cooking, making cooking it well insufficient protection against eggs that have begun to deteriorate. Use the float test. Place eggs in a bowl of cold water. Fresh eggs sink and lie flat. Slightly older eggs stand upright. And floating eggs should be discarded immediately as they're too old to safely consume. This simple test works because as eggs age, the air cell inside the shell expands as moisture evaporates through the porous shell and is replaced by air. The larger this air cell becomes, the more buoyant the egg becomes in water. A very fresh egg will sink to the bottom and lie flat on its side. An egg that's still good but slightly older will sink but stand upright on one end. If the egg floats to the surface, it has aged too much and should be discarded without cracking it open, regardless of the date printed on the carton. Take 5 minutes today to test the eggs in your refrigerator. This simple check could prevent a serious health emergency. Every egg that fails the float test represents a potential source of foodborne illness that's easily avoided through this quick and simple verification method. The minimal effort required for this test is insignificant compared to the days of severe illness it could potentially prevent, especially for seniors who face higher risks from foodborne pathogens. By avoiding these 7 dangerous egg mistakes — improper storage, incorrect washing, leaving eggs at room temperature, undercooking, using cracked eggs, cross-contamination, and keeping eggs too long — you can enjoy the nutritional benefits of eggs while protecting your health. Making these simple changes to your egg handling and preparation routine can significantly reduce your risk of foodborne illness and ensure you continue to benefit from this affordable, protein-rich food safely. The best part is that none of these changes require special equipment or significant expense, just small adjustments to habits that could make a tremendous difference in your health and safety. If you found this information valuable, please hit that like button to help more seniors discover these potentially life-saving egg safety tips. Share in the comments which of these egg mistakes you are making and which change you'll implement first. Subscribe to our channel for more evidence-based health and safety information, specifically designed for healthy living after 60. If you know someone who could benefit from these simple yet critical egg safety tips, please share this video. It could prevent a serious illness or even save a life.